Hey YouTube. So today we're going to talk about setting, writing a setting in your novel, describing a setting in your novel. So I get this question a lot, and I think the reason that people ask for advice on how to write their setting is because it's one of the harder things to do, honestly. I don't know why, but I think everybody struggles with it a little bit. I think it's just that there's so much that has to go into describing a setting or a scenery versus just what someone looks like or what they're thinking, etc. So the very first rule of thumb when it comes to describing your setting properly is do not info dump the setting on your reader. A lot of new writers especially do this, and it's an easy thing to fall into because some literary fiction works kind of can get away with it, so then authors think, oh, I need to do that too. You don't want to start your book with this long-winded, drawn-out description of everything that the protagonist is seeing out their car window as they drive down the interstate, like the mountains and the clouds and the trees and the birds and the bees and the, we don't need that. In fact, your readers are going to lose interest pretty darn quickly. So that's one thing that you definitely want to avoid is do not just dump it all in one big section, especially not at the very beginning of your book. Instead, what you want to do is you want to sprinkle, that's my favorite word, you all know, sprinkle little bits and details about the setting throughout the opening chapter or any place where you're going to describe the setting. So what do I mean by sprinkle? In case you're new to following us and you haven't heard me use the word ad nauseum, I just mean little bits here and there. Okay, think about like if you were going to decorate a cake with sparkles or whatever, you wouldn't dump the whole container, right? You would try to space it out and sprinkle the top as much as you can. It's the same thing when I say sprinkle in your book. Sprinkle the setting, little details here and there. Okay, so that's the first rule of thumb. The other one is something that I think is not thought of very often, but really when you think about it, it's kind of basic. Try to use as many of the 5 senses as you can when describing your setting. So, in other words, don't just tell me what the protagonist sees as they walk through downtown New York City. Tell me what they hear, what they smell, what they feel under their feet, anything like that. As many, without overdoing it, as many of the 5 senses as you can use them. So let's say that your character is walking into a city park. Okay, so naturally, I think we would all think of some of the same things to describe visually. Somebody jogging or riding their bike down a path, somebody playing a softball game over here, and a kid's on the swing there, maybe someone picnicking there. All those things would come to mind, right? So that's kind of easy. But there's nothing special about that. That's not going to really put me in the park. But think about this. If you have your protagonist walk into the park and not only do they see these things, but they can smell hot dogs cooking on the grill over to the side, or they could smell the freshly cut grass, or they hear the crack of a bat hitting a softball, or they hear the swing set creaking as the kids go back and forth, whatever. They feel the grass under their feet as they walk from concrete to grass or whatever. See what I mean? All those things that you can sprinkle in there are going to give your reader a much more visceral experience, and they're going to put the reader there where you're trying to describe. And so those are the first and most important 2 quick steps to writing a proper setting for your novel without overdoing it or overthinking it. Now, before we go, I want to remind you, if you haven't already, please go get your free copy of the book launch roadmap that we released last month, I guess. It is the step-by-step guide of every step you need to take if you're going to have a successful indie book launch, from the time that you type the end all the way through editing, formatting, publishing, and even a little marketing. So it's the free, I always get tongue-tied here, free book launch roadmap. It's available at the link in our on this video and on our main page, or you can visit our website at writeyourbestbook.com. That annoying little pop-up thing that comes up real quick, you just put your email in, sign up for our weekly newsletter, which is just nothing but fun tips and tricks on writing. And then you'll get your instant download of the book launch roadmap, something that all indie authors should have so they can become their own book boss. Talk soon, and in the meantime, go write your best book.